We've been praising them all week. Mother's Day is on Sunday, God willing. Good morning, Grenada, Caracol, PT, Martinique. Good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning. Bless up your whole selves. It's another fantastic Friday. It is May 7th, 2021. Thank you to those of you joining us on the GBN, Grenada Broadcasting Network's Facebook page, the Grenada Broadcasting Network's YouTube channel, the website www.gbn.gd, GBN TV channel 7, 11, and 20. Good morning to the listeners of Classic 105.5, 105.9, and all the folks joining us on Party Grenada and Go To Fet Facebook pages. It's a pleasure to have you. Trust you had a restful and peaceful Thursday and you're ready to get Friday up and running. It's just a few more hours until the weekend officially kicks in, and I'm here to get it started in an upbeat, fantastic, bright way. Good morning, everybody. Those of you joining us across the region, whatever part of the region you are, a spicy Grenadian 473 morning to each and every one of you. And those of you tuned in internationally, good morning, good afternoon, good night. Hope you will have a good day, are having a good day, have had a good day. It is now 21 minutes onto the hour of 7 o'clock. Thank you so much for tuning in to Good Morning Grenada. Let's get right into this morning's word of the day. This morning's word of the day is lackadaisical. Lackadaisical. That's a word I'm sure a few of you have heard in your lifetime. Lackadaisical. It is spelled Lackadaisical. Lackadaisical. It's an adjective which means without interest, vigor, or determination, listless, or lethargic. Lackadaisical. The adjective, which means lacking interest or determination, comes from the interjection adjective and noun lackadaisy. Lackadaisy is an interjection expressing dismay, sorrow, or disapproval. Or an adjective, it means given to crying lackadaisy, and as a noun, a person given to crying lackadaisy. Lackadaisy is a variant of the archaic interjection lackaday, a shortened variant of alack the day. Middle English has the interjection alake, possibly related to the noun lack, which is a lack, fault, or shortcoming. Lackadaisical entered the English language in the second half of the 18th century. That's the word of the day this morning, lackadaisical. It is spelled Lackadaisical. Lackadaisical. It's an adjective which means without interest, vigor, or determination, listless, lethargic. An example of the use of the word: our government's lackadaisical approach to genomic surveillance leaves us blind to precisely how prevalent these mutants are. Another example of the use of the word: so while you may have every right to resent your colleague's sloth and your boss's lackadaisical attitude about it, merely venting is more likely to make you seem petty than it is to result in change. Now that's the word of the day this morning, lackadaisical. It's spelled Lackadaisical. It's an adjective which means without interest, vigor, or determination, listless, or lethargic. Now that's the word of the day, lackadaisical. I'm sure we've all heard that word a time or two in our lifetime. All right, and as you go about your fantastic Friday, as well as your Mother's Day weekend, this morning's thought of the day is very fitting. The thought of the weekend is: God could not be everywhere, so he created mothers. God could not be everywhere, so he created mothers. Happy Mother's Day to all the mothers across the Tri-Island, all of you across the rest of the world. It is a pleasure. It is an honor. Continue doing what you're doing to all you ladies, not just biological mothers, but those of you who play the motherly role, whether it's in your school that you teach or in your community, even in the daycare center, whichever form of motherhood you participate in. Bless up your whole self. Sometimes it may go unnoticed. You may feel underappreciated, but trust and believe you are appreciated. Happy Mother's Day to each and every one of you, especially, all you know, I had a big up. Agnes Agatha Alexis, the lady that brought me into this world. I appreciate you so very much. I love you. Happy Mother's Day weekend. You already have your gift. Hint, hint, nudge, nudge. Bless up your whole self to all the mothers across the world on Mother's Day weekend. All right, let's see what is celebrated today. Today it is May 7th, 2021, and today it is Provider Appreciation Day. Provider Appreciation Day. This day, also known as Child Care Provider Day, is celebrated on the Friday before Mother's Day. The day recognizes childcare providers, teachers, and other educators of young children everywhere. So it is Provider Appreciation Day. Those of you who play the motherly role and the caring role during the day when mommy and daddy is at work, and the teachers or the childcare providers, whether they're homeschooling or in the school itself or providing child care services in whatever form, whichever building, wherever. Today is recognized for you. Thank you so much to all the child care providers. You also play an important part, an important role in bringing up our children, the nation's children's blossom. What going on there? The nation's children. So happy Child Care Providers Day to all you child care providers nationwide, around the Caribbean and the rest of the world. Child Care Provider Day or Provider Appreciation Day. All right, let's see now what information I have to share. Yesterday, somebody told me that I've forgotten to share the vaccination locations for the week. So even though it's a final day on the schedule that the ministry has, I'll still provide it. The vaccination teams will be at the Kirani James Athletic Stadium today from 9 a.m. to 2 p.m. They've been there all week, and the entrance is at Gate B. So keep that in, not the entrance. Yes, the entrance is at Gate B. That's the entrance in the middle of the stadium. Most likely there'll be security officers and healthcare providers to direct you to the specific room. So those of you who are still thinking of getting vaccinated, who want to get vaccinated, you can do so at the Kirani James Athletic Stadium as well as health centers. Continue to call and make your appointments at the health centers. Those of you who are due for your second dose of the vaccine and the health centers have not given you a call back as yet, Minister of Health Nicholas Steele has advised that you can go to the mass vaccination sites, and this week it's at Kirani James Stadium. So if the health center hasn't called you back yet and you're due for your second jab, feel free to go to the Kirani James Stadium. You don't need an appointment for the stadium, as there have been more people going there on a daily basis regularly that they don't need to ensure that they have 10. They already have 10 people, at least 10 people showing up at the stadium. So if you have to get your second jab, head on to the stadium if you don't want to wait any longer for the health centers to get back to you. 9 a.m. to 2 p.m. today. All right, now let's get ready for the morning edition of news. For those of you on radio and those of you on our visual platforms, it's time for a repeat of last evening's newscast. It's going to be a fantastic, fabulous Friday. Good morning, Grenada. We'll be back.
This is GBN News at 7. After the Prime Minister's plea to the membership of the Grenada Union of Teachers to not punish students for the impasse between government and public officers, the GUT kicked back on Thursday, showing its employer that nothing will stand in their way of fighting for what they already earned by serving public notice that teachers will begin taking their full 1-hour lunch outside school compounds from next week.
As protest action continues for public workers' 4% salary increase, the Grenada Union of Teachers has served official notice to the Ministry of Education on Thursday morning, informing their employer that as of May 17th, teachers would be having their lunch hours outside a school compound. The notice stated that the Ministry of Education, parents, and the general public should note that as of Monday, May 17th, all members, with the exception of those at the preschool level, will be having their 1-hour lunch outside the school's compound until further notice. It went on to explain the Employment Act, which speaks to meal intervals, which states that no employer should require an employee to work for more than 5 hours continuously without meal interval or not less than an hour, or to perform any work during the meal intervals without consent from the employee. In a recent media interview, Prime Minister Dr. Keith Mitchell called on trade union representatives to exercise patience with government regarding its inability to pay the increment at this time. He explains that only one that will be suffering is the nation's children.
We're going to make it. We're going to meet you. We're going to help. We're going to do what we have to do. You think I want to see a pastor teacher to see his face round up in front of me? I'm not happy to see that. I want them to be all smiling. So I hope we can do that not long from now. I'm looking forward to this. But let us all work together. Don't use our children negatively for that. If you have a problem with Keith Mitchell, deal with him politically and otherwise. Don't use our children. They're not responsible for what the decision of the central government. I just ask them, just let's work together.
Public officers remained adamant that they will not relent until their 4% salary increase owed to them by government since January of this year is paid to them. For GBN News, I am Rena Pear Thomas reporting.
Like children stuck in the middle of their parents' divorce, public school students throughout the country find themselves wedged between the government and public workers' battle for a 4% salary increase due since January, as the Grenada Union of Teachers announced new actions from next week, Monday. We are joined by Opposition Leader Mr. Tobias Clement to analyze the ongoing situation. Welcome, sir.
Thank you very much.
And thank you for joining us. So, Mr. Clement, your voice was missed for quite some time. What say you as you watch this situation unfold?
Well, I have been looking at the situation with an intimate eye as to where we are in this impasse. And one has to look at Grenada and look at its history. And I believe probably now is an up time to say what goes around comes around. And I refer you back to 1989, when the teachers again was at the well, I shouldn't say throat, but was right there in industrial action. And one has to ask the question, and is it really so that what goes around comes around? And I think I take it with a smile, because in 1989, the proponent of the actions of the teachers are the ones who are receiving it now.
So let me ask, who is the winner in this situation when trade unions representing public officers stand their ground and government does the same?
Well, I shouldn't say winners or losers, but what I will say that both trade union and government must act in a responsible way and respect one another. The trade union has a point to make that, yes, signed agreement was reached upon, and the 4% was signed onto by the government. The government is claiming that they do not have the revenues to cover such. But at the same time, the trade union, I do believe there is a certain amount of, I don't know if it's malintentions that are there, but the trade unions are looking and say, okay, here we are at this point in time. You cannot find the 4% that was agreed upon, but you could find monies to do all other sort of things. And probably the truth is, yes, we are at a very depressed state of the economy, although they said otherwise. As leader of Her Majesty's opposition, I was looking and probably laughing a little bit when they announced at the budget last year that they would have 6% growth and whatever else, but I know that is not there. But they are grown-up folks. Sit down on the table and come to an amicable solution so that somebody's ego is so big that they may refuse to come to an amicable solution, or where one person might be saying, I ain't paying them any money, and the other person might be saying, well, we are going to take industrial action. And caught in the middle, as you rightly say, especially our students. But are we at a point in time where we have grown so big and our heads are so swollen that we will do what we want, when we want, how we want, and nobody can tell us anything? That is just wrong. Where is the spirit of brotherliness? Where is the spirit of nationalism? So that you could sit down and say, let's work this thing out for Grenada. When I say Grenada, I mean the children of Grenada, Carriacou, and Petit-Montney, because they are the one that loses. I am not seeing any winners there, because the future of this country rests now in the education that they should be receiving, if there is industrial action that they're not receiving. And I would say too that on the other hand, if the union do not want to lose respect in the future, then it means, therefore, if they negotiate and because something happened that the negotiations they negotiated cannot materialize, then anybody at any time, any government that would always come back to this moment and say, well, you did this here at this time, so probably you could do it again. That's an impasse. That's a really impasse for everybody. But I hope that cooler heads will prevail. And I know they were in arbitration, and maybe somebody had to bring the two sides together so that we can work something out for our people and our country.
You have left us with a lot to think about. It was a pleasure having you as our guest tonight, Mr. Clement. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Police have arrested and charged 40-year-old Paul Amede, a security guard of Willis St. George, for the offense of grievous harm after he allegedly bit off a portion of another resident's top lip. The victim, who was not identified, also a resident of Willis St. George, is presently warded at the General Hospital following the altercation that left him without a portion of his top lip. The alleged incident occurred on May 2nd. According to police, preliminary investigation suggests that the altercation occurred due to a misunderstanding during a gamble at Willis in St. George. Amede was granted bail in the amount of $10,000 with two sureties and will appear in court on May 18th, 2021. Officers of the Traffic Department Grenville Police Station arrested and charged Kellen Jeffrey, 40 years, a mechanic of Callaloo Hermitage, St. Patrick, for driving without due care and attention and driving without a driver's license. This after a vehicle he was driving collided with a 9-year-old student at Dunfermline, St. Andrew on May 2nd, 2021. Jeffrey was remanded to Her Majesty's Prison on Monday, May 3rd, and will return to court on May 10th, 2021. The child remains warded at the General Hospital. Media was set aflame on Thursday as news reports raged on about Melinda Gates, wife of Microsoft founder Bill Gates, fleeing to Calivini Island to initially escape backlash from their divorce. More in this report.
In articles from the New York Post and the Daily Mail, Bill and Melinda Gates reportedly planned to make their stunning divorce announcement in March, and she hoped to avoid the media glare by renting a remote private island in Grenada for the family. Anonymous sources, cited by TMZ on Thursday, claimed that Melinda fled with the couple's 3 adult kids, Jennifer, 25, Rory, 21, and Phoebe, 18, to Calivini Island, which she rented for $132,000 a night to get away from the media after making the divorce announcement. It's unclear when exactly Melinda returned to the U.S., as she and her estranged husband were seen together during a virtual appearance on April 19th. On the same day they announced their separation, Bill's investment firm transferred $1.8 billion in stock to Melinda, the first indication of how one of the world's richest couples will divide up their considerable assets. The philanthropist couple announced their divorce on Monday in a joint statement. I am Gerard Joseph for GBN News.
ClearVision Eye Center is upping its ophthalmology game as it adds the newest Topcon Maestro 2 to its fleet of machines geared towards improving optical diagnosis offered at the center.
When you need your prescription filled or you require non-prescribed medication, supplements, or all your personal needs, visit Gittins Healthcare at locations on Wall Street, Grandans, Victoria Street, Brandon, and Central Deputy Street, Wharf. Gittins Healthcare aims to provide an exceptional personalized pharmacy experience. Additionally, children under 5 and adults 55 years and over will enjoy 10% discount on purchases of $20 and over on prescription medication. Stop settling for less. Visit Gittins Healthcare, where your health is our priority.
The new machine is a user-friendly camera system that automatically performs alignment, focus, and capture with a single touch. The resulting reports enable comprehensive analysis of the eyes and diagnosis beyond the outer layers. Valerie Dubisset, manager at ClearVision's Eye Center, explained that the machine goes beyond the surface of the eye to give the most accurate diagnosis, which can enable patients to receive timely treatment.
This machine is the ocular coherence tomography, and basically it's like getting an x-ray done for the eye. It tells you if there are any diseases of the eye, how it's being degenerated. We have diseases like macular degeneration, diabetic retinopathy, and glaucoma, and other diseases. But this machine tells you exactly what you have, and by knowing these things, patient can change their lifestyle.
Marketing manager at ClearVision, Richard Simon, says this new upgrade is part of ClearVision's bid to always offer the best services to its clients.
ClearVision Eye Center was established in 2016. One of the important things for us is ensuring that we offer best-in-class services, that we offer the best technology available for our customers, and that we ensure that we are able to provide a one-stop shop to our customers. Every year we look at ways we can improve the service, we can improve our offerings to the public, and also invest in the people of Grenada, because this equipment there's a significant cost to it, and we think it's an investment in optometry in Grenada.
The center's in-house optometrist, Dr. Franklin Bemere, using the results of an eye scan by one of the GBN reporters, gave a breakdown of how the machine works.
Most times when the doctors look at the eye, we have limits what we could see. Like we could see the fundus, which we call the retina. But when a doctor sees the retina, he may not be able to see beyond this retina that we're seeing here. But with the scan, you're able to see the retina have layers. We have more than different layers of the retina where disease can impact the eye without you seeing it outside. So the scan will be able to locate at each point of the layers of the retina where problem is taking place at initial or early stage. The doctor will be able to dictate or see and analyze it and advise properly.
A prize-giving ceremony was held for the top 3 winners of the OECS USAID Juvenile Justice Reform Project postal competition in Grenada. More than 10 schools on island took part in this year's competition. More in this Rena Perry-Thomas report.
St. Rose Modern Secondary School took the first place prize in the 2020-2021 OECS USAID Juvenile Justice Reform Project postal competition. J.W. Fletcher Roman Catholic placed second and the St. George's Institute placed third. The competition, which was held to promote awareness of child justice, started in December 2020 under the theme #Chance for Change. More than 15 schools participated. The Ministry of Social Development held a prize-giving ceremony following the judging of the competition in February. The students were excited to share their inspiration behind their winning pieces.
My artwork shows my dream of a world where children can have full balanced justice. All classes, all ages, and all races can experience hope, trust, equality, and justice with changes and implementation of laws. Young people usually get in conflict or in contact with the law or may encounter the justice system as offenders, victims, and or witnesses. As a result, I have chosen 6 points depicting the engagement of young people and the justice system.
The theme that was given to me by the Child Justice Campaign was #Chance for Change. I visualized this through my artwork. The 2 was apart but yet so close, showing that there's a thin line between success and failure, and anybody can make it in this life, given the right guidance and support.
The Juvenile Justice Reform Project is the second phase of an 8-year initiative within the OECS. Phase 1 of this initiative paved the way for continued effort at reform with the launch of Phase 2 in July of 2016. Building on the first Juvenile Justice Reform Program, the OECS, through JJRP, seeks to strengthen juvenile justice systems to promote the rehabilitation and reintegration of youth in conflict with the law back into society. As part of JJRP2, the OECS Commission collaborated with multiple stakeholders who can provide support services to youth in conflict with the law. For GBN News, I am Rena Perry-Thomas reporting.
And now we turn our attention to what has been creating a buzz on social media. Here's tonight's Social Buzz.
This is Social Buzz, where we shine a light on the thoughts and concerns of our online audience.
During last evening's newscast, Health Minister Nicholas Steele urged Grenadians to get vaccinated before the remaining COVID-19 vaccines reach their expiry date.
I've received in total approximately 52,000 doses of AstraZeneca. Those are that we have received since February and another shipment in late March, I believe. We have only administered, as I said, less than 15,000. The issue that we are going to have is that we need to have another shipment coming in the next month or 2, because the current stock expires at different dates. So far, we've been able to use all of our stock before expiration. But if individuals wait too long, there is the possibility that we will not be able to use the stocks that we have because they will be approaching or would have passed the expiration date.
thousands of vaccine doses remain unused. Some of our viewers had some suggestions for the health minister. Carolyn said, how about send it back to India where it is much needed? Another person said, send that in India. I find they need it more than us. Ryan said, Steele said 15,000 vaccinated. A few weeks ago, he said we were having 1,800 people a day taking the vaccine, and that was when it was 9,503% vaccinated. So why is he lying now? Dorian said, give it to your whole family and friends. Lexi added, that is the best thing to do. Show love to India by helping them now. India really needs it. Another person added, have a food and alcohol drive and pay them. They will come out in droves. Case closed. Charmaine said, how do you know what is going to happen to these poor people? Grenada needs work and health care, while the people still have to decide, not you.
That's it for tonight's Social Buzz. As always, if you would like to have your thoughts and concerns shared, be sure to comment on GBN's Facebook page.
From the thought process to the visual impact, it's time to take a peek through the GBN ISOL lens. The children in tonight's ISOL got creative. We feature paper-mache African masks made by the grade 4 students of the Granroy Government School in Granroy St. John. Our ISOL reporter said newspapers were cut into strips mixed with flour and water and placed over a balloon. It was left to harden, then painted. African masks are worn as part of most African traditional ceremonies related to weddings, funerals, and initiation rites, etc. The craft was done to create general awareness and foster love of their African heritage. Don't forget to send us your photo and video submissions via WhatsApp on 405-3052 or our other social media platforms. Youth must not be used in a piecemeal way by placing youth on a board to say you have youth here and youth there, were the words of youth activist Ron Redhead. He was responding to the potential future of the group Youth for Change. Jared Joseph has that story.
A grouping of the nation's youth has banded together, hoping to make a difference in the way matters of national importance are dealt with. Ron Redhead, a member of Youth for Change, says the group is not a political party in the making, but an avenue for young people to let their voices be heard. Redhead, a former senator who represented the National Democratic Congress in Parliament, admitted that some members of the group are affiliated to political parties, however says the group has no relation to any political party or parties. He said it is their way of contributing to the collective need for change in Grenada as young people.
And given the situation with COVID, it is ideal for more young people to join and speak out, not necessarily just to castigate one side and exonerate the other. But what we are talking about is systematic changes that we see as a result of COVID, but has been there for a long time. And we consider them to be underlying conditions, which are, in a sense, limiting our growth as a people and as a nation in terms of development, true development. And we are speaking to those issues.
The youth activist impresses that they have no plans to form any political organization, but to contribute meaningfully to Grenada's development.
Right. Well, we have heard the conversation, to be very honest. We are not particularly driven by power and authority. The history of young people totally in control of the country has not been so kind to Grenada. And therefore, it will be a travesty to try to repeat the exact model. What I would say, genuinely, as young people, we want to contribute to the development of the nation.
He believes it will take a united approach, working together with groups, political parties, and organizations to make the desired changes needed in the country.
I don't think that we can go on a road show independently and just talk about this thing and try to elevate ourselves as young people only. What we must do is work together with all of our people. As I said, if it has to be led by the young people, then so be it. Most changes throughout the world, in the history of the world, was led by young people.
Redhead says the role and significance of youth must not be only seen around general elections, but must be utilized to their maximum potential. I am Gerard Joseph for GBN News.
Are you looking for quality herbs and herbal supplements, or are you thinking about having a complete body cleanse to jumpstart your health? Then no need to look further. Visit Nirvana Natural Health Clinic, Detox Center, and Natural Health Store. We carry a wide range of herbal products for kidney and gallstone cleansing, male sexual enhancement formulas, asthma and sinusitis, gas and bloating, acid reflux, constipation, arthritis, imbalanced hormones, female health issues, liver cleansing, weight loss, and so much more. Also available, colonic irrigation, holistic health consultations, essential oils, and diffusers. Look out for our online natural health store coming soon. Call 231-6642 for 18-7115 or 449-7753 to find out about our delivery options or to book an appointment. Visit us at Belmont St. George's, close to the Fallage, Monday to Saturday, 9 a.m. to 6 p.m. Nirvana Natural Health Clinic. Detox your way to health.
Total is one of the world's largest oil companies with a top quality line of lubricants. Total Lubricants has a full product line from passenger cars, motorcycle, heavy industrial equipment, mining, trucking, agriculture, and manufacturing machines and vehicles. Total Lubricants, winning championships in motorsports, including Formula One and World Rally Championships. Total Lubricants are available at all Rubis service stations, leading automotive shops, and distributed by Huggins.
Bruv.
Hello? I can't see you.
What's good?
But I can't even hear you.
Yo.
Hello? Hello?
Okay, I see you. I'm good. I'm coming in.
There you are.
Live the experience right now. Enjoy high-quality video calling today. Stream, upload, and share with Digicel super fast LTE network. Visit our stores today and live the experience today. Digicel.
This month, make it all about her with a gift from Courts. Shop today and enjoy up to 30% off selected rugs, accessories, and more. Get the most stylish appliances, home furnishings, and more. Plus, shop today with Ready Finance and we'll pay your first and last installment. You can also shop online at www.shopcourts.com for the same great savings. So make it all about her with something special from Courts. Courts, bringing value home.
How going on, boy?
Hey, good old things.
Hey, Daisy.
Yeah.
Boy, in line, boy. Your house looking a real good day.
Boy, it's thanks to the hard-working and professional staff at the Housing Authority of Grenada. They handled me real nice. They did my plan, they did the construction, and I didn't even have to worry about a thing. They were there with me every step of the way, supervising the job, asking me about my concerns, giving me feedback as the house took shape. They were there from start to finish, and even put the keys in the palm of my hand. I give them an A++ for customer service.
Oh, it's people from housing bad, boy.
Boy, not bad. Excellent. If you're thinking about constructing your home, why not consult the Housing Authority of Grenada? You could visit them right down in the Sandino complex or give them a call, 440-1015 or 440-1016. Or check out their website, hag473.com. They go handle you. They go jog your blocks, they go draw your plan, they go tote your materials. Hey man, where you going? The Housing Authority of Grenada is your choice for affordable housing and a stress-free construction experience.
See the savings with Spice Isle Optical. Don't break the bank to get your focals. Classy, affordable eyewear. Service optimal. Our experienced technician works like a magician. Trust your sight with our company's vision, where your satisfaction is ever our mission. Mobile services, family packages, economical prices. Spice Isle Optical is where the deal is. Spice Isle Optical is located in Queen's Park, St. George's. For more information, contact us at 449-1588 or 440-0353.
message from Grenada Solid Waste Management Authority on the occasion of the International Composting Awareness Week.
This year's International Compost Awareness Week 2021 theme is Grow, Eat, Compost, Repeat, which was designed to empower everyone to recognize and promote the importance of composting and the use of compost in growing healthier foods, supporting healthier soils, and creating a more sustainable world. 40% of waste that is thrown from our kitchen can be composted. The GCNA has been proactive in developing its new value-added compost called Nut Moss Potting Mix. It is a 100% natural and organic and made from pure grounded decomposed nutmeg shells. Today, the GCNA joins the world in celebrating this week as International World Compost Week and urges farmers and Grenadians to embrace composting as a habit and in a small but significant way promote a healthier environment. When you compost, you are not only creating valuable nutrients for your soil, but you will also be helping to save valuable landfill space.
A message from Grenada Solid Waste Management Authority on the occasion of the International Composting Awareness Week.
Once upon a time, we shopped at Wonderland, then Neverland. But we're all grown up now and no longer believe in fairy tales. So now we just shop at Shoes R Us. At Shoes R Us, we stock the latest in shoes, tops, and jeans for the fashion-conscious lady. We also carry colognes and much, much more. And for the modern trendy male, we have the latest brand-name shoes and sneakers, Converse, Reebok, Nike, K-Swiss, Puma, and much more. So check us out at our two convenient locations, Melville Street in St. George and Ben Jones Street in Granville. At Shoes R Us, we say, come shop with us.
Ultratech gasoline and diesel, available only at Rubis stations.
Mothers are special and should always be celebrated. One great way to honor the caregivers among us is through song. It is for that reason the Grenada Broadcasting Network is teaming up with some of the best talents on the island to bring you Celebrating Queens, a 2-hour virtual concert on Mother's Day, Sunday, May 9th. From the scenic 61 Degrees West Restaurant and Bar on Grandin's Beach, we celebrate Mom, your mother, our heroes. Celebrating Queens, celebrating Mother's Day.
This Mother's Day will be extra special. As Writers New York presents the epic Mother's Day Celebration Virtual Concert 2021, featuring a full acoustic performance by the Hitman, the Veteran, Grenada's greatest entertainer, Elimas Gilbert, the Inspector. Alongside Dash, Val Adams, Quacko, Mr. Golden, and Anselm Douglas. This Mother's Day, Sunday, May 9, 2021, 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Join us as we celebrate our lovely mothers on this special day. Sponsors: David Williams Funeral Home, RiderSounds.com, call allpronow.com, GBN, and Ride Along Live. The epic Mother's Day Celebration Virtual Concert. Log on and tune in.
Hey folks, you're invited to tune in to Grenada Music to the World program, hosted by Eugene Gittens on Saturday mornings from 10 a.m. to 12 noon on Classic Radio 105.5, 105.9, Hot FM 98.5, 98.7, GBN TV, and all their social media platforms. the only totally local music program in Grenada, representing all genres of music. So it's Green's Music to the World on Saturday mornings from 10 a.m. to 12 noon on GBN with the music icon himself, Miss.
Welcome back to Good Morning Grenada, 20 and a half minutes after the hour of 7 o'clock. Those of you who are just joining us, happy to have you. Those of you who stuck with us, thank you for your patience. It's time for us to enter into the showroom where we feature our Grenadian talent, our local talent in different areas of talent. This morning, over the past few weeks, we've been featuring our local artists, and this month I want to feature some of our known figures, or maybe even an unknown figure. Let's see how the month goes. But in the other art form, this time in drama, in playwright, in producing, and I am so much honored and so happy to have in the showroom this morning a cultural ambassador, a veteran in the business, the one, the only, Francis Urias Peters, aka Uncle Yu, is in the showroom this morning. Good morning, Uncle Yu. I'm happy this morning. Thank you so much.
Is a little drum roll. just to add the sound effects.
The sound effects. Happy to have you this morning, Mr. Peters. Thank you so much for joining us. I love the color pink. I love the sunshine. I love your background. I love everything. Good morning to Sister Anne. I know she's nearby. And she nearby?
Oh, yes. Sister Anne is my technical operator. Yeah.
Morning, Sister Anne. Okay, it's a pleasure to have you this morning. As I said in the intro, you're a veteran in the business, a known face, a known name, especially when it comes to drama and acting. So let's start with the beginning of your career. How did you get into producing plays, writing plays, getting into drama? When did you realize that this was your talent, or one of your talents, I should say?
Yes. Well, I must first say that the theater found me. I didn't go looking for the theater or go directly learning how to write. I think it's found me by chance. I think as a young boy, in fact, I was born in St. George's, grew up in Lagoon Road, and then when I was 9 years and 8 months, I went to live with an old elderly aunt in St. Andrew. So my family unit down in St. George's was a large one. My mother had about 10, 11 children. Some went overseas. But going to live with my old aunt in St. Andrew, in Marquis, to be exact. I was the only person in the household with her. So I did not have the opportunity after school to play with children, to play with my folks within the community. So I didn't have a choice. I had to do a lot of reading, a lot of reading. And I think I read books beyond my years, my 10 years of age. So I think that's more or less stimulate my imagination. And I'm saying here to parents who, especially with our kids, we are hooked on this tablet and those little electronic devices, that reading and quality radio, stimulating radio programs, that stimulate the imagination. So I think maybe that's where that sort of the genesis took place. But then later on, in my teens, I was a member of the Berean Bible Church. And, we have a background where there were American missionaries came to Grenada in the 50s, 60s. And there was that influence there where around the Christmas time and the Easter time, there were cantatas singing with the choirs. And that is where my interest was stimulated, because we always did a play around Easter time, and around Christmas time we did a play along those themes, the Christmas themes. And I can remember it was sometime in 1978. I say 78, yes. So I was just maybe 20 going on 21. And I was a member of the youth department of the Berean Bible Church, that's in Grenada. And I decided, instead of the regular youth service, that we're going to do a skit. And I attempted doing a skit, I think, called 50 Years into the Future. I think it's nonsense when I look back at it, but people enjoyed it. And that was the attempt. Because before that, I was acting in the plays and in the choir. So that was the genesis. And then in 1983, I believe, when the church was doing the annual cantata, Easter cantata, I think it was at GBSS, I was challenged by the choir director, Mr. Lennox St. Louis, where they felt that just singing alone, people might be bored, so why not try to attempt to do a short play? And I was challenged to write a play based on what I did in 1978. And I came up with the same Easter theme, looking at the persecution of the early Christians in AD 64 by that tyrannic emperor Nero. And the play was well accepted. People thought that they got their money's worth. And it was from there I started writing. We formed the Christian Dramatic Society, started performing in my show Folk Theatre. And in 84, I went to Jamaica on an OAS fellowship. So that was the genesis, the early beginning of Urias in the theatre field.
When you started, did you realize that this was your knack, or you were just still, tinkling with it and seeing where it goes, or you realized, nah, boy, I have something there?
No, I never ever thought. It was just a pastime. Oh, that's also why I love sports. So I just dabbled in it for a while. But what I found, though, was in 1978, I got my first full-time employment at Jonas Brown & Hubbard's in the lumber department. And what I found that sometimes during the very slow period, because I started as a clerk and then eventually became a cashier. And I found sometimes in the very slow period, little ideas start hitting me. And then I started jotting down with a notebook I had there. And then ideas for plays came. Of course, when I went home, I developed it. When I went back to work, I continued writing. And I think it was from that moment after 97, no, it would have been in the 80s too. I found myself having that interest in playwriting, because my even up to this day, my strength is playwriting. And it is something I believe is a God-given talent that has to be developed. It's hard just to me to teach a person to be a playwright. So it was from that time there, working as a clerk in the lumber department, developing my craft. And that's where I actually started writing on a more serious basis.
The very first play that you wrote, you said looking back at it, you find it wasn't all that fitting. What about it you think is not maybe one of your best? What do you think was missing? Okay, because if people loved it.
Yeah, because it was a comedy. We call it 50 Years into the Future. In 1978, I believe we started imagining what life is going to be 50 years from now. People, instead of taking buses, you're taking cars can fly. It was a futuristic piece of nonsense, I call it. So it was just like slapstick without much of a plot, but it was funny. Apparently, in the way we acted, it was funny. And maybe people seeing a local piece for the very first time in the church. So I think that's what actually captivated people's thoughts and imagination. But the second one that I did in 1983, that's the first scripted piece. I think it was a much better piece of work because it was scripted. We had to rehearse. It was directed also by myself, although I didn't have much experience as a director at that point in time. But I think based on that piece, that's The Unshakable Faith, that's what actually gave me the interest to continue doing that, because you are performing in front of an audience at the GBSS auditorium. So that again, as I say, was the first paid play production that I staged.
You went to study in Jamaica, and when you returned to Grenada, how did your time in Jamaica help you develop that craft and your skill and talent?
Oh, I mean, up to this day, I'm going back to drama school because I'm a person. Sometimes it takes a while for things to sink in. But Jamaica has been a major influence on my life. Had it not been for Jamaica, I don't think that I would be in the arts. Because when I left, I did this in Grenada when I was acting, when I was writing, directing. It was just on instinct. I went to the Marisho Folk Theatre Library. I think I read every single book on drama, on playwriting, on directing, on stagecraft. That's how I was just going on my own natural instinct. And having arrived in Jamaica, thinking, well, yes, boy, I'm all that, I know. Then I realized how little that I knew. I thought I was just going to do drama, 13 subjects per week. It was really, really, really hard and tough work. In fact, the difficulty emerged because we started doing theater arts, directing, acting, and then halfway during the course, we had to switch to do what is called drama in education there. So at least we had to do two major courses in that short period of time. So it was really was rough. It was really tough, but it prepared me for life, especially our directing tutor, Eugene Williams, he was more like a big brother to us, but he instilled in us that you have to do things right. You have to do things that can challenge you. And that was why we have this reverential respect for Eugene. So sometimes, even when I'm doing my production now and I have technical issues, how I'm going to solve this, 2 weeks to go, 1 week to go, a few days to go, this isn't working. But Eugene is saying that there's always a solution to any technical problems. You're going to find that. And that helps me even in my everyday life. So Jamaica, I think, really was a great experience. So it prepared me for life, not only as a writer, not only as a director, but for almost everything that I do. I go back to my experience in Jamaica and say, listen, no matter what the situation, I can make it. Despite the problems and the challenges, Jamaica, it's a wonderful place. I have made lifelong friends. And now I say thanks to Jamaica for giving me that opportunity. And the Grenada is benefiting as a result, especially the Jamaica School of Drama, which is now known as the Edmund Manley College of the Visual and Performing Arts. It is a wonderful institution. I know they are going through challenges at this point in time because of their financial situation, but we have to be thankful to that piece of rock called Jamdong. I'm forever, ever grateful. And coming back to Grenada, again, that's the second, another chapter of my life.
So when you came back, what was the very first play or production that you wrote? Do you recall?
All right. So coming back to Grenada with a family, wife, a child, with $45 in my pocket, and the great expectations to go into the Department of Culture. But then I think where they said based on the budgetary allocations, we were not catered for that year. So I had to go back to Jonas Brown and Hubbard's and beg back for my job. And I always tell young people, even no matter what's the situation, especially in a workplace, always leave on an amicable note. Leave, no matter how tough the situation might be. When you're leaving, ensure that you leave on a good note. And they were happy to have me back because I was a good worker. So coming back to now, in 1986, with the Christian Dramatic Society, I rushed to do a play because there was this great expectation. And there was this load on my shoulder. Urias is back from Jamaica. What has he learned? And we rushed and did a play called A New Beginning. It was set on the coast to it's a family. A guy was an alcoholic and couldn't find his way, was wrongfully accused, and then that eventually was wrongfully arrested, but eventually turned his life and gave his life to Jesus. And so there was redemption for him. But people said they loved it, but it was just an hour and 15 minutes. And they were very disappointed. And Blossom, I got depressed. Because this is it's like you're making the test team or playing cricket, and then you play in front of your home crowd, and then you make not 10, 15 people expect you to make at least a half century, maybe a century, and then it was a big disappointment. So I felt this load, and I decided, you know what, Urias, you went to Jamaica, you have a great insight into what the theater and drama and the culture is. So what I did, I went to the highways and byways, Possum, like the Messiah, looking for disciples. And I had to do my inquiry and my research, and I was directed to people who were involved in the arts, because during the revolutionary period, 79 to 83, I think the theater was a national performing company. The arts was given prominence during that period of time. And then after 83, I think not much was happening. So I came back at that point in time in Grenada, where not much was happening with drama. So I was directed to specific people. Your mother, being included, Agatha Alexis, people like Wayne Bob, the deceased, Michael D. Gale, and Peters. I mean, a lot of these folks, I went and I had an idea to write a play that was set during the 1949-51 period. That is when Eric Matthew Gary came back to Grenada, although he was not mentioned in the play. There was one critic I got. And decided to do a play called Struggle, set on a cocoa plantation around that time. And if you look at the history of this country, since 1838 to 1951, the working class, the people on the estate, the average man and woman on the street, the social and living and the wages and those conditions had changed very little. You're talking over 113 years after the emancipation of slavery. There was dissatisfaction throughout the entire island by that sector of the people. And so Gary was the one who championed the cause of the people at that time. So that's why I think, history and theater, education, you cannot separate those. So I decided to set the play during that time. And we had the original songs, the chants, Shotney, Jab Jab. We had the poetry, we had the myth, the Shango dance, everything, the stick fight was interwoven into that 2 hours and 50 minutes production, dynamic, the songs. And Antipam did the choreography for the Shango dance. It was staged at the Marisho Folk Theatre on the 1st of May Day. And I didn't really plan it, just happened the 1st of May, 1987. And the audience, I will tell you, we were sold out every night. People were lining the corridors. There was not enough seat, but the theater was filled and jam-packed every night. As a matter of fact, during the rehearsal, you have people around the corridors like Shorty and all those the youngsters. They were youngsters and they used to come to rehearsal. And up to this day, Shorty and them know the song. You're talking since 19...
He still calls Mommy Tantan.
Exactly, and that's the impact. And I would say here that struggle is the mother of all plays for me as a playwright and a theater director. And I think it actually set the standard. It was like the cornerstone that really created that new buzz for the appreciation of for drama in Grenada. I still think it's maybe one of my best plays. It was staged in 2016. So from there, I think we took off. We took off like a rocket. And from 87, 1st of May, 1987, in 1989, we found the Christian Family Theatre Company was founded. And I think here that was, as I said, the play that actually gave me that prominence and created that new appreciation. Struggle was stage show, The Length and Birth of Grenada, was done quite a few times. I think we even did it in Carriacou also. And it was that core of people that actually assisted me. We came together. And I'm very, very, very grateful for the response and for the support up to this present period.
How many plays have you written over your career?
I don't know. I think I have about 12 solid plays for the stage, solid ones. But I've written quite a number of shorter pieces. I've done things for the radio, a couple of things for television. But I will say there's about 12 solid ones. And if you want me to mention, we did an improvisation called Prison Without Walls. I'm not too sure if you were in that Blossom, but
I can't remember, but I remember the play.
Yes, we did that. That was done. We did What's Your Verdict? That's a courtroom drama, and I need to talk about What's Your Verdict, because prior to 1995, before that period, I think it was 93 or that period, incest, and you're talking from 87, 95 to now, you do the math, was not a crime in Grenada. Incest was not a crime. I guess you could charge a relative, a father, a mother, or uncle for having sexual relationship with that close relative if the child was under 16. I think it's for an unlawful common knowledge or so, but not because that they had this close relationship as well. And I could remember Miss Valerie Cornwall, yes, I think she was a former, deceased now, president of the Grenada National Organization of Women. She's a former president. And they were lobbying the governments, I think, over the years, and they were not getting any traction. And then Ms. Cornwall came to me and said, Urias, can you please assist us with the advocacy, with the campaign, to influence the powers that be, to have incest as a crime? And I said to myself, yes. But after I said yes, I said, but how will I deal with such a dark theme? And I really regretted that I made that promise. And I procrastinated, the procrastinator that I am, for quite a while, for months upon months. And then one day, Sister Anne, she was the director of Women's Affairs at that time. I can't remember the exact year. It could be 92, it could be 93, or 92. I can't remember exactly the year, but it's before 1995. And she came home and said, Urias, there is a child in my office. She drank kerosene. She wanted to commit suicide because the father was having a sexual relation that was molesting her, and she wanted to kill herself. And I used that as the guiding light, as the light bulb, and say, well, listen, maybe that is one of the reasons why I really have to get off my tail and to write this play. But how will I treat it? What sort of treatment will I give to such a play? And then somehow I started modeling up the ideas and thoughts in my mind, and the germinal idea, because when you have to write a play, there's something called a germinal idea, the first thought. And I said, why not let me create a courtroom drama? And courtroom drama and prison movies, so they actually always grab my attention, the drama and the suspense. And I said, okay, yes, that's what I'm going to do. What I'm going to do is to create a scenario where a young man, a young boy, murdered his father because the father was allegedly, that's the word, allegedly having an incestuous relationship with that sister in the home since she was 13. So the idea, the thought was developed. I went to Ms. Velma Hilton. She was the public prosecutor at that point in time to assist me to say, how do you prosecute a case? What is the procedure? She guided me through. I went to another lawyer, I think it was Margaret Wilkinson, to help me to look at, if there's a defense, what has happened as police officers, to get the procedure. I went to the courtroom from time to time to observe the courtroom procedures. And so the play and the script was developed where this young man was charged for murder. And every night, it was first stage at the Marisho Folk Theatre. And what we did every night, we asked 12 members of the jury to sit on the panel. And they had to come up with a verdict, whether the guy was guilty of murder, whether manslaughter, or whether he was innocent. And the contentions there, I think Sister Anne maybe played the first defense counsel, I believe so. Marcus Christopher played the prosecutor. Jasper Price was the judge. But the contentions here is that the defense counsel were trying to say, listen, because of this incest, this is the reason why the end result. And the prosecutor was saying, listen, no, don't come up with this talk about incest, because that is not what is the issue here. It's not about incest. It's about the murder. And the defense counsel came back with this powerful debate. He says, yes, of course, there's no crime called incest. And that is why parents and men can continue to abuse and sexually abuse their daughters and their children. And this was the crux of the matter. One night we invited Dr. Francis Alexis. He was the Attorney General at that time. And this is just to punctuate the power of theater and drama. And he came. And a few months afterwards, I think I met Dr. Francis Alexis, not too far from his, somewhere on Lucas Street, and he says, Urias, you get your law now, incest law has been passed, enacted in Parliament. And I was very, 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 very happy, pleased to show that the power of theater, the power of drama. And I think that was one of the highlights of my career, having used the theater to address the social issues. So that was one of the plays which I think is very, very, very important and significant to me. We did a play called also and then from that I wrote A New Beginning, the very first play that I wrote, and changed the name to Mayhem in Paradise. And this time the play was set. It was set, I think your mother acted in that also, as a Bacchanal woman called Muriel. And the play was set in a little village called Paradise, close to the sea. And there was this family contention on the issue of holding onto your property, because there is this private investor wants to come to buy the property and was offering big bucks to all the residents around there. And there was one guy called Dragon. He was a nephew, but he was a landlord. He had an aunt in the United States of America who wanted to sell the property. And in my own personal belief, because when you're writing a play, you have to declare, this I believe. And in the play, and in my own personal belief, that this little island that we have here, and most of the Caribbean islands, the land space is so small. There's 120 square miles, 133 square miles. And if you go to sell out everything, then you have nothing to stand upon. The land is what we stand on. The land is what gives us the food. And that was the contention, to sell or not to sell. And that created a big source of contentions. And I also said in a recent program that is a play that I have to do again, because this is one of my concerns here. As a small island where we depend on the sea, we depend on the lands, and what is happening here now is that if you just do a hike around the coast, let's say starting from St. David's, come down to St. George's, you will see a lot of signs close to the bays and the little beaches: no trespassing, private property, bad dogs, And because we are people who need to access the sea, and there are certain trails, sooner than later, if we do not have, I wouldn't say necessarily say laws, but at least advise the folks who are buying lands close to the sea that, listen, people have to have access to the beaches, to the bays, then we are going to have some very, 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 very serious issues if that is not addressed sooner than later. Because I said again before, there was a serious contention like that in Tobago where people have lost their lives, fishermen. And the government had to come in and step in because there was a trail to a beach that the fishermen in one of the villages in Tobago, they had access to their boats. And then this was blocked off because there was, I think, a hotel resort. And the government had to come in and, I think, buy over the property just to ease the tension. So that's a play, I think, that we need to for us to be addressed, to address again, because you're dealing that here.
It's prevalent here now as well.
It is prevalent, and these are issues, I think, here that the theatre, that the plays, the drama can bring up those issues presented to the public, and I think will be able to be much more prominent than just, let's say, if you preach it on the pulpit or on the political platform or just in discussion. So that's one thing I think that has to be addressed, especially our environmental issues. So that was one. Then another play that I think has a great impact is one that we called Redemption Time. Redemption Time is a play set during the Grenada, the People's Revolutionary Government, also during the Eric Matthew Gary era. And in the 70s, I call it the turbulent 70s, and also ended in 1983. And our history is a history. So whether you like it or you disagree with it, that's not the issue here, is that we have to teach the history. And when that play was done in 2013, it took me 10 years for that play to be completed. And when it was done in 2013, what I would say that we had the school's matinee, and the audience that responded best to this play was the school children. And when they were asking if this is actually, these things happened, we had a war, the smallest country in the world to go to war with the United States of America, they couldn't believe it. And I said this and much more. So that again is another important piece of work. And I experimented because we actually used video as part of the production concept. And then the play, I think I know you're going to jump and shout to, was a play called The Burial of Miss Faitlin. Was done in 1999, the comedy. I think that play, it's the most popular play that was ever staged here. It was a comedy that dealt with death and dying. It was recently done, I think, in 2019 with my theatre arts students. And it was done twice in the United States of America. We had the honor of Oliver Samuels, who performed in that. And everywhere at the time that play was staged again, it was a sold out audience. So I think those are the prominent plays that I must say that I wrote, created impact. There was quite a few in between also. I experimented with a one-man play called David's Story, or Sentence to Hang. That was one. We did something called Rivals, which looked at the contribution of the University of the West Indies to the Caribbean community. We also have something called Shattered Expectations, which I am presently working on as a radio drama series. So those are some of the prominent stage plays. I'm not sure if you want me to talk again about the radio.
Do you remember the name of the horror play that you did in Mary Show House that almost gave my grandmother heart failure?
Yes, that was play. So the play written by a Dominican playwright called Alwyn Bully, and Bully is a very, very talented playwright, theater director, also a multi-talented individual. Of course, he's from Dominica. And he was one of the persons who, when we were in Jamaica as young men, he was one of our mentors as a big brother, ensuring that we settled down. And from time to time came to look for us at drama school and gave us guidance. So I always have to be thankful for Alwyn Bully. But it was a horror. It was called The Night Box. The Night Box. It was a thriller. And I remember one of my patrons came and says, Urias, I was so scared. Every time I heard a piece of music, I closed my eyes. I remember Jeremy was a child at that point in time, and he and a friend was sitting in the front row, and then they decided to go in the back row. So it was a challenging piece. Again, Agatha Alexis performed in that. And maybe that's something that we could do maybe around October for All Saints.
I'm coming, afraid.
Well, just make sure that your heart is good. Your heart is
I'm
good
sure.
just before you come. Yes.
I always remember Celia Mitchell falling out of the closet when somebody opened the door. I don't know why I keep picturing that when she fell out. And let me not talk about that play.
But I think I'm happy that you mentioned that play, because this just shows here that we have done the plays not only written by myself, but by other Caribbean playwrights. We have done plays from Good Morning, Miss Millie was also written by Olin Bully. We've done things like Mama Gaius was done in the past by Freddie Kisoon. We've done plays from Trevor Rohn, at least two or three of Trevor Rohn's plays. So I think I'm very happy that you mentioned that play to show here that as a theatre practitioner, we have done the works of other Caribbean playwrights.
Let me see if I can get to some questions from, let me see, we have about 8 more minutes. All right, let me see how I can quickly go through them. Somebody on Facebook is asking, as Tyler Perry said, a writer never stopped writing, even in a live show while it's going on. Can you tell us if you had that experience of rewriting a play as it is going on live to keep the humor going?
Not sure I'm gonna directly answer the question, but I would say that our minds as a playwright is always active. And I will tell you that a lot of the plays that I've written, up to now, I'm rewriting them. When we wrote part of the aspect of the burial of Miss Faitlin, I've written aspect for Shattered Expectations. So even Mayhem in Paradise, a lot of the plays here, because the thing about a play is never completed. You could write a play now, and 20 years' time, based on situation and circumstances, you are changing. Everything that we see influences us. And not only the playwright, sometimes you go to the play and you get comments from the audience, and if it's something that is a proper critique, you take it and you interject that in the play. Sometimes mistakes are made, even during the actual performance, which turns out to be even better than the scripted piece. So yes, our minds are always going 24/7.
Somebody on WhatsApp asks, you mentioned naturally talented people like my mother, Agnes Alexis, Wayne Bob, Auntie Ann Peters. Oh, thank you very much. And they played a major role in propelling your career further as a team. Do you see a pool of natural talents in recent times compared to those whom you worked with in the past in ensuring the art form survives, or is it a challenge?
No. It is both a challenge, and you have the natural ability, because we did in Labukan offer a community cultural performance course. It was a 6-month course that ended just over a year. And we've done at least 2 of our major plays. The Burial of Miss Faitlin was done with a cast from that student pool, and also What's Your Verdict was done with that cast. So there is a natural ability. The challenge that we have though is that the theatre in the Caribbean is so very expensive to produce. That's one of the big challenge. And with our economic challenges, it's becoming even more challenges. Even during this COVID period, even sometimes to stage a rehearsal, there's time constraints. You have people having to go back to their homes. They have to pay the bus. There's rehearsal. So you have the talent pool there. There's no doubt, because as a theatre practitioner, what I do is that once a person have that natural ability, I try not to what I call in local parlance, cramp your style, but to give the directions, and that natural ability that you have, I let you fly. And it's amazing how once you allow an actor or an actress to be and to have that freedom to explore and bring things to the rehearsals themselves, you find here a lot of natural talent comes out there.
Okay, we quickly run out of time, but I really want to talk about Labukan Creative Center, because it's something that I think, I call it your baby. You and Auntie Anne's baby, because it's not just about theatre. You offer other things at the Creative Center as well. So tell me how the idea and all the work that you've been doing at the Creative Center and giving opportunity to young people, how did it come about and how has it manifested itself over the years that you've had it established?
Yeah, well, we in the past had a theatre company. So there was a committee, and we had a pool of people. And then I found here that the kind of person that I am, that we are, we need to be more open and all-inclusive. Because when you're in the theatre company, of course, it's like a little clan. And you also become the psychologist, you become the grandfather, you take on the issues within the group. And so we thought, that we would like to just have an organization where we are not just a theatre company, but to focus more on training and to give everybody an opportunity. So you train even in theatre arts, and then you go whoever theatre company or whatever opportunity avails itself, you are free to go. Antian, as the health practitioner, and I'll tell people since 17 years of age, Antian has been involved as a nurse and in the healthcare system, and still is given at this point in time. So we decided to combine the two. I'm going to focus on the arts, and not just acting and playwriting or so, but as a person who is deeply rooted in my traditional values, the traditional belief, I think, and the Grenadian history, and looking back at the past as a foundation for the future. I think it's important here that our young people and those who we come across, we are passed on those traditions, and that was one of the burning issues. So right now we are located at the GCNA complex, Kirani James Boulevard. There is an allied healthcare program where Antian heads that. Of course, she's the CEO, she's my boss. And where there's a lot of training, nursing assistants, you have training in orderlies, either preparing people to take up the roles in that field. And then I focus on the creative arts. Because of the pandemic, I've not been doing as much as I ought to, but still, we have successfully trained 12 young persons who will be receiving the CVQ, the Caribbean Vocational Qualification, in the cultural performance. And with the CVQ, you can work any part of the Caribbean region. And in fact, most part, even Canada, they recognize the CVQ, because there's a lot of focus right now through the National Training Agency on skills training. That is very important. And so I think we have been successful thus far. And right now, maybe just to segue into what you're asking there, we have launched an intimate theater presentation. The first half, it's music where we feature Laura Lisa and Jonathan Francis up close. Yes, it's an acoustic 45 minutes musical presentation there, and accompanied by the acoustic guitar for 45 minutes. And then we have the intermission, and then we go into a play. It's a comedy called Mama Guy. I wouldn't say much more. It's just that it's very, very, very hilarious, 45 minutes. So you have a 90-minute presentation. And this is actually just to support our young cultural artists, because the pandemic has really taken its toll, on the arts. So the support here is for the Center for supporting our young creatives. And we started on the 1st of May, on the 30th of April and the 1st of May, these two performances, Friday and Saturday. And we're skipping this weekend, and we're starting back on the 14th, that's Friday the 14th, that's next week, and the 15th, 2 more performances. And it's very intimate, but its spaces are limited because we have to observe the COVID protocol. So we're asking people that come support Labukan Theatre, come support the creative arts. They can call the center, 440-1353 or 449-1353 to make the reservations. So that is what is happening here right now. And I will tell you, Blossom, that they say, yes, sometimes with the challenges come opportunities. And even myself, with this small stage that we have here, the small stage setting with the lighting, I'm amazed at times, especially when you see people like Laura Lisa and Auntie Anne, and they come up with the creative ideas to set the stage and to set the stage. When you walk in, you realize that it's a wonderful event that you are coming to. There. So I'm very, very happy for that opportunity. And again, I'm working a lot, provided that we get a sponsorship and a lot of to transfer some of the plays into radio dramas. In fact, I'm presently working on a 5-minute series on Grenadian history there, which I trust that once we get this part of the sponsorship, that this can hit the airways before the end of 2021. So there's a lot in store. There's also the possibility of the sequel, the follow-up to The Burial of Miss Faithlin.
I was just going to ask that. I was going to ask, yes. Where is part 2? Did Stedman and Thelma get married? Yes. What happened to Diana? What happened to Miss Ethel? So many questions. When we get in part 2?
Yes. Yeah. So I've been put on the pressure. Recently, Laura Lisa Richardson said, Mr. Peters, you have to do that. I guess I don't have a choice. It's just what sometimes give me the challenge. It's going to be a big cast, and the challenge of rehearsal and getting people there is always a big challenge. But I think I don't have a choice. maybe that might be my last stage play. You never know. And then
no, don't say these things. Don't say these things, Mr. Peters. You have more to give.
Thank you very much.
You have more to give.
Yes. Well, I have to start training because I find the urgency there where I have to start really searching for people with a natural ability for playwriting, because you have a lot of talented people. I mean, when I see the amount of young poets that we have here on island, and they have that natural knack for creating, for the creative process. I think that has to be done sooner than later. Scouting for a new playwrights, and maybe you can do a series, a festival, a short festival with their works. So that's something that, of course, we would like to spearhead at the Labukan Creative Center.
Well, that takes me to another question, and the question was on Facebook as well. What are your views on the introduction of creative arts in the curriculum? Any value or possibilities for it in Grenada?
Yeah, well, it's here in Grenada. Quite a number of students over the past few years have been doing theater arts. And what I would like to see, apart from just it's introduced into the curriculum, there has to be an understanding that the arts is education. You cannot separate the two. The arts is education. In fact, because I have a grounding also in drama in education, whenever I teach, I use the creative mode in order to stimulate the student's imagination. Because a lot of people feel, okay, that teaching is that you pound knowledge into a child's head, that I give you the notes. Even in university, people are complaining. I give you notes and you do the assignment and you regurgitate. But we have to teach our young people to think, to be creative, to be independent thinkers. And that's why I think that if you can stimulate that imagination, you'll be amazed to see that the product that comes out of that little child. Because every child is born with a creative genius. Every child. And that's why I say dogs and children are the best actors and actresses. Boston Messenger, you were 4, you were on stage.
Yeah, I remember. Hungry.
Exactly. The arts help you to build your self-confidence, to build your self-image. And I think this is needed so desperately here in Grenada, because I think we don't have confidence in ourselves. We don't have confidence in our own people. So this is where, if you have, no matter how limited it is, a taste of the creative arts, whether it's this, you want to dance, whether you want to sing, you want to act, you want to draw, we have to understand that you cannot separate the two. So that's something that is very important for the creative arts as a subject, a CXC subject. And if this continues and send more people to train and to respect the arts and what it can do for the education system, I think you're going to have a much, much, much better society. You're going to have people loving school much, much, much more.
Mr. Peters, appreciated this conversation so much. Let me leave you with some of the thoughts. Somebody on Facebook says, congratulations on the training of nurses. And somebody on WhatsApp says, I love the radio dramas. I look forward to that, and I encourage that idea. So but a lot of us look forward to your radio dramas. Thank you so very much, Uncle Yu, for passing by the showroom this morning. Always a pleasure linking up with you. As somebody said, you're such a kind soul, and I appreciate you. Outside of theater, I appreciate you. You're a very close family friend. Your family, a matter of fact. So bless up your whole self. Morning, Sister Ann. I know you're logged on Facebook as well. Morning. Have a good day, Uncle Yu.
All right. Thank you very much, Blossom, and continued success. That's the role that you're playing here called in nation building through the media. Thank you very much.
Appreciate it. Thank you so much. Enjoy the day.
Okay, that's it.
A son of the soil, a cultural ambassador, Francis Urias Peters. Thank him so much for being a part of the showroom this morning. It's always good when you can link up and hear from them how they got started and how they continue to do what they do. So we thank him. Good morning again, Sister Ann. Have a good day. I told you happy birthday, but I'm going to tell you happy belated birthday as well, Sister Ann. Enjoy. All right. Thank you so much for tuning in. Now let's join the BBC for the continuation of the 8 a.m. newscast. Don't worry, you didn't miss anything at 8:05. They usually recap what they did in the 8 o'clock. So you're not missing anything. To the radio listeners who like to call and quarrel at Miss BBC, you won't miss anything. Enjoy the rest of your Friday, everybody. Happy Mother's Day. Those of you celebrating this weekend, enjoy. Let's join the BBC.